Hello and welcome to another video tutorial. My name is Britta Swiderski and this week I'll be playing with my new to me distress markers. These have just recently come out on the market and I'm really excited. I bought the full 37 count pack because I knew I would want them all. So I've been studying up and this is the first time I'm playing with them and I have an idea that I want to do. So I have tumbled glass, broken china, stormy sky, faded jeans, and chip sapphire. And I have a clear acrylic block and a piece of watercolor paper, which you can buy at Simon Says Stamp. So yeah, and I have the rough side up, and I have a spray bottle. You could also use pearlized water, which is a couple scoops of perfect pearls mixed with some water in a mini mister like this. But I think I'll just stick with the regular water today. So I'm going to start doing something that I wouldn't normally be able to do with ink pads, because that's what my goal is for today. So I'm going to actually start in the middle, I think. And I'm going to color this block. So I'm going to color and just kind of make it like a rainbow effect. And according to Tim Holtz, you can't contaminate the tips by just touching it to another color. So I'm not going to worry about overlapping colors. In fact, that'll make it blend a little bit better. So I'm just keeping going here. I'm just going to turn it around and now do the lighter colors. And I'm using the larger brush tip. Okay. And now that I have the block relatively covered, it's not completely covered, but very well. And then I'm going to spray it. You could actually just stamp it like this probably and get kind of a funky, sketchy look. But I'm going to spray it just a few times, let's see, until the water looks kind of runny. Because my block is all that's going to be going down here, so it's really important to get it nice and wet. And then, this is the scary part, I'm just going to flip it over and squish it down. And you can see the watercolor getting into the paper. And I put just the right amount of water on it where it's not completely squishing out the edges, but it melded everything together beautifully. Yes, I'm so excited. So we have this, and that's okay that it's kind of blotchy. It'll be really cool once it dries. So I'm kind of moving it around. You can even move it around with your finger because this area didn't get quite covered. So I'm just going to bring up the color in here. The idea is watercolor, so it doesn't have to be perfect. While this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my focal image for this, which are these beautiful flowers from this stamp set from Hero Arts in Basic Gray. It is Pattern Hearts and Flowers CL596. And I'm stamping them in StazOn because I want to use my distress markers with these as well. There we go. I had to add this pad, my piercing mat, underneath it because the detail just wasn't showing up in the middle. So that's a quick way to fix that. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to stamp my sentiment, which is from the Hero Arts set, Sending You Love, CL888, or no, 588. And it has these wonderful little labels. I'm going to use the thank you. So to color in my flowers, I've grabbed fired brick, barn door, and worn lipstick, and peeled paint and forest moss to color in the leaves. And I'm going to use my same block that I used before, and I'm going to color on it much like I did before, but this time I'm going to pick up color with a brush and watercolor with it. So this is the fired brick. This is the barn door. And this is the worn lipstick. I'm just going to spray a little bit onto the block here. And then I have water to pick up with my brush. These brushes are by Claudine Helmuth, by the way. And I'll start with the light color first. And then just add color as it looks good to me. So I'll speed this part up so you can kind of see what I do. Flowers, and if you want to go back and add in more color and make it darker, you can go back with the second layer, but I kind of like this light look. It wasn't exactly what I was going for, but I like it so much I'm going to keep it. So now I'm just going to do the same thing with the leaves. Alright, so I have my flowers all colored in beautiful watercolor, and now I just have to let them dry for a little bit. There's not much water on this, so it shouldn't take too long. I think I'm just going to do this whole thing in pink. Color it in the same way that I did the flowers, just to give it that watercolor look. I could color directly onto the paper, but you see, it's very vivid when I do that. So instead I'm going to cover onto the block and paint it just like I did before with a bigger brush. And this will give me a watercolor look. Now I'm just going to let this dry and then cut it out and we can put our card together. Now that everything is dry, I can start putting things together. So I'm going to start by putting down my watercolor paper base onto some cardstock, and this is the lightest color pink from the Hero Hues line, which I believe is called Blush. And then just throw these things on top. I'm going to start with my sentiment and then the flowers. And I think to finish everything off we need some bling, which is really exciting because I haven't used bling on a card in a while. And so I'm just going to put a smattering of bling all over this card. And now that I have my bling on, just kind of give it a final look. And I feel like this part with the really thick black border is weighing down the card too much. So I'm going to figure out something to do. Okay, so I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip this off my card base. And I'm going to round the corners with my smaller edge of my corner chomper. And this is to mimic the rounded edge of the label. And now what I'm going to do is just take a piece of scrap paper, put this behind it. Hopefully this won't stick to it too much. And this is scary, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to draw a line that's about the same thickness, but more of a hand-drawn line around the outside using my Memento marker. Alright, and now that I have that done, I can stick this right back onto my card base. And I think that makes the black frame fit in a lot more. And kind of gives it a nice avant-garde, fashionable look that's really hot right now. Kind of the handmade with the clean lines is very hot, especially this spring, summer. And the pastels with kind of the bold pop is really nice. So yeah, I think this finishes the card off for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them below. And make sure to subscribe if you like my videos. So I will catch you again next week for another weekly video tutorial.